What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another fresh episode of the Center Beacon. This episode is so fresh and moist, it's like a flirty donut. We're going to take a look at test server 3.4.0 this weekend. A final look before I think a lot of this stuff is probably going to go live here in the next couple weeks. We're going to talk about multiple hangars, or Hangar Decks as they're now called. We're going to talk about the new robot Hover. I think that thing's getting ready to go live. We're going to take a rare look at the new map Dreadnought, and we're going to take another look at the Storm medium weapon. But first, let's take another quick peek at hangars. Now here I'm equipping some Terrans. And what I want you to pay attention to here, it is auto-selecting the same type of weapon that I put in the other slots. So that's a little bit of a change there. That'll be pretty cool. It'll help you basically equip your weapons faster than normal. I'm going to take a look here real quick, make sure everything's set. There's my second hangar, just clicked over to that. So something to make note of is even though the same robot weapon can't exist across hangars, it can only be in one hangar. And if you want to have it in another hangar, you're going to have to buy and level another one. Something to make note of is I've heard word of them offering things like prizes where they will clone your robots, like your favorite weapons, favorite robot. They'll clone it for you, and that way you could have access to it in another hangar. But that's if you win a contest. So it's not what we wanted, but it is what it is. So let's talk about the Storm, the Quiet Storm. This is the new medium prototype weapon. I've shown you this a couple of times in previous videos. This is about as good as I've seen it. I was running 3 of these things in tandem on the Haiichi. The Haiichi was on the test server along with a couple of the other premium weapons like the shock train and stuff you're going to see later. And it's basically a nightmare. I'm really hoping that the game doesn't devolve into, you know, like shock train wars. But if you watch these little clips here that I've got, that's kind of what you're going to see across several maps. It was everybody was playing with the shock train and was just like, oh my god, this thing is so amazing. It is getting a nerf, as I told you about in my previous test server video. They are going to dial the shock train in quite a bit. It's going to get a 50% damage nerf for each additional strike to a robot that's standing near your target. So I'm hoping that'll make a difference, and then we can see if it's going to need another nerf or not. But right now, even on test server at level 8, the things are pretty dominant across all these matches. There were a lot of shock trains. A lot of it you won't even see in here because I didn't put the clips in, but they were pretty dominant weapons, and we don't want the game to devolve to that. So hopefully they'll take note of what I'm saying here and other people's feedback, and that won't be the only weapon you see, you know, in the next 8 to 10 months for robots. So I'm going to switch over here. The Storm was okay. I'm going to switch over to the Hover. All I'm doing here is just showing you how far you can fly in this thing. You can see your house from here and everything. That's about it. Still not my favorite bot. It's pretty severely outclassed by basically any dash bot due to the alacrity with which those things move when they engage their special. You can see here that guy dances across, and I'm basically just a really big slow target here, and I eat a lot of splash damage. Now granted, again, my connection when I travel is terrible. I am on, like, this is like anywhere from 555 milliseconds to 700 millisecond connection, so that's why if sometimes you're watching this stuff and you're like, why doesn't he see that guy? Meh. You know, everybody's an armchair quarterback at home. It's because I literally don't see the guy. Because what he's doing is I'm behind him in a temporal sense. In the continuum, you know, if we're going to go to Star Trek here, I'm behind the guy in the timeline by anywhere from a half second to 3/4 of a second. But we all have our crosses to bear, so to speak. And that's one of mine. But this thing, I mean, you can see it's real gentle when it hovers up here. You know, you can cover a lot of ground in this thing, but is just not enough of a special ability to make me really choose this thing over a dash bot. I might be able to beat somebody to a beacon by jumping over something. I'll show you in another clip. This thing could jump over all kinds of stuff. But it's still, once you get there, you don't have the same firepower as, say, something with 3 mediums as a lot of other bots. So it's really kind of challenging. So I'm not sure really how terribly effective this thing is going to be. It's neat. It's fun to play. Now we're going to go to another clip of the Hover. And I'm just going to show you this is kind of cool. Now, something to bear in mind, every map has a ceiling. You can't see it, but it's there. and you will hit it with this thing, and you'll see it in another clip where you kind of bounce off of it. But on that one, you can go straight over top of a barrier that otherwise there's, you can't do. So here's just another clip of the hover, just showing you like, how high you can go. And it's like I'm kind of on a zip line here, trying to make it to middle. So there is some utility to be had in this thing, but how much, we're going to have to see on live. Now, there was a poor game that I had. That was Shock Train Wars 2017 there. Didn't do a whole lot of damage, only got a couple of beacons, and didn't really make out too well on the silvers. So here we're going to go, finally. I had to play and quit like 200 matches to finally get Dreadnought on this test server. I was really starting to think that I'm like, where is it? So normally what they do when this stuff is about to drop on live, the new map will go into a more regular rotation, and I really had to keep cycling through matches to finally get one on Dreadnought. So that kind of tells me that this thing is probably pretty close to ready to go. So unfortunately here, you're going to watch, we're going to get dominated with these shock trains again on these open flanks of this map. Just if you guys, you can check out my previous video on this. I kind of take you through the anatomy of this map, but it's a crashed spaceship. It's in the center of the map. Off to each flank is a big wide open space. The wide open space on the other side there kind of mirrors this one. There's a beacon in the middle, beacons out on the flanks, and then, your starter beacons or your spawn beacons near where you come into the match at. So unfortunately, this guy has like a Hydra over here, and it just, kind of eats my face. Try to sneak up on this guy, but I'm going to take Hydras to the dome piece here repeatedly, and then here come the shock trains. So I'm hoping if they watch this stuff, I mean, I'm not the only one making videos, obviously, but they'll see that, the shock train does need to be dialed in. So hopefully what they have scheduled, the 50% reduction to each additional strike, not the initial strike, but when the damage kind of bounces off of you and goes to your buddy, that's supposed to get cut by 50%. That's down from 35%. I'm hoping that'll make a difference, because otherwise what I'm noticing is there's going to be a lot of shock train wars, and we don't want that. So here's a little bug that I saw. You'll see my Punishers cut out. Like I'm not out of ammo, but they just stop firing. I pray to all the robot gods that is indeed some kind of bug. I'm going to make them aware of it. But I really hope that's not something new, because that would royally suck. Yeah, you see here. Son of a barbarian.
Son of a barbarian!
Fortunately, there is cover for these beacons. You can get some cover here. It's kind of hard to hide from all the indirect now. This guy's just going to walk up on me. He ended up finishing me off with those shock trains point blank. You see, I caught a shock train in the booty right there, right in the caboose. It came around, I think, from the side, and the thing, if it hits another connecting robot, I think it goes to like 2 or 3 bots after the initial strike. So, took that one right in the booty. So we're just checking out the middle of the map. All I'm trying to show you here is the anatomy of this map. This is the inside. There's that central beacon right there. And I was kind of trying to use a more standard hangar and getting really outclassed by all the guys running Haiichis and whatnot. And the hover, you saw it earlier, the hover didn't really have too much of an impact there against that bot. The dashes are just too quick. So I was running a Rogotki here, Plasma, but they got me with the range, and they're just too dang quick. And then you factor in my latency issues, which are, my own personal problems. First world problems. Or is it third world problems in this case? I'm not sure. You can see here, trying to finish at least one of these suckers. Cover's kind of sparse right here. I'm getting triangulated. There's like 3 guys over here. I'm not really sure what my team is doing, but everyone seems to be shooting me. And that's about the size of this thing. That's about it. I just want to give you guys like a quick look at all this stuff. Should be coming to live. There was a crap payout right there. Didn't really pay for a loss. Pays to be a winner. So that's it for this one. I will see you next time at the Center Beacon.